Wow, what a morning, right? Gerald, Ronald, Reba and the team from US Bank, Arnie and Juju and Billy talking about the work they're doing in Chicago, and then Naomi's piece, which is just outstanding. Really trying to solve some of the really challenges that we really have here about how do we take and find jobs and opportunities for people as we move forward. A couple of numbers we start our session, which was really about training for a lifetime. Training for a lifetime with the guys who know what they're doing, and we'll have some great examples of that. A few numbers to get us started. Right now, unemployment in the US is at its lowest rate in 50 years. And yet there's still 8 million jobs open in the country. That's more jobs open than 38 states have population. And yet we have 5 million opportunity youth between 16 and 24 who aren't in jobs or in school. So huge mismatch, and by the way, with generative AI, you talked about yesterday and others, it's all changing. 2/3 of the jobs are gonna change. So how do we really develop the systems that Gerald talked about earlier, the processes and the plans to really create that next generation of great workforce, right? Both for the companies that need the workers, us as customers that need it, but also for those employees here as we move forward. And I'm delighted to have a panel, and you heard about them earlier from Ronald himself, with a wonderful introduction, is Chief People Officer from McDonald's, Tiffanie Boyd.
Thank you.
And Kendall Hurns, who's a former crew member. And they're gonna kind of give us some of the insights both from the employer and also the employee, the associate, the crew staff perspective as well. So welcome to you all as we conclude this morning.
Thank you.
Tiffanie, big picture, right? As we think about McDonald's, from an operational business perspective, the importance of training for a lifetime, and then maybe link that to the societal impact that McDonald's trying to have on this as well.
Yeah, this is a really important topic for us. We are a company where probably 9 out of 10 of you will come into a McDonald's at some point as a customer. In the US alone, we employ about 1 million people in our restaurants, and over 2 million globally. And so as we think about workforce development, it's not just about employing people to do the day-to-day job at McDonald's, but we see ourselves as a key contributor to society. A real accelerator to help people learn the skills and access the tools they need to be successful, not only at McDonald's, but in whatever career they choose. And you'll hear a little bit more about that from Kendall. So we take that very seriously. Our mission right now is to build a culture of care in our restaurants that allow our people and our business to thrive. And that culture of care has to come to life in real, systemic, and process-oriented ways. It's not just a feel-good type of slogan or tagline. It means that we create the infrastructure so that people can access the training, the development, that they have the right total rewards in terms of wages and benefits, and they have access to the opportunities regardless of what they decide. So that's sort of our core belief and foundation, and one of our values is that we open our doors to everyone. So we pride ourselves in being a company where regardless of where you start, where you come from, what your status is, and how much you know, you can really find a place at McDonald's and you can learn and grow into a wide range of areas, whether it's in our corporate office, as a franchisee, or as an alum.
And you mentioned, 9 out of 10 of us will probably visit a McDonald's this year. And then the incredible number this morning, 1 out of 8 people in the US, they'll have a job at McDonald's, and we have some, obviously 2 out of 3 here. Yeah. Close to that, I worked in another fast food restaurant, but
yes.
But 2 out of 3, that's incredible impact that you all can kind of have as people are building and developing their careers.
Yeah, and we have a lot on the horizon with our 1 in 8 community. You'll hear Kendall talk about that momentarily. But we stumbled upon this interesting fact that 1 in 8 Americans have worked for McDonald's. And we said, gosh, if we could bring together that community of people, and it ranges from famous people like Jeff Bezos to your everyday worker who's a crew member in our restaurants. And I would ask you, when you go into a restaurant, what do you see? You probably see somebody trying to make your order, and hopefully you're greeted with a level of hospitality that is meeting your expectations. When I go into a restaurant, I see a restaurant full of opportunity. And it might be the employee who came to work for us who didn't speak much English, And then they can take advantage of our English Under the Arches program, which allows them to build their English skills and capabilities. We have so many stories of people who have done that, built their confidence, and then they get promoted into higher level roles. It could be a crew person who's taking advantage of our Archways to Opportunity program, which allows and provides tuition reimbursement. And we have some partner schools that allow them to do that at no cost, or they can earn a bachelor's degree while working. It could be people taking advantage of our Hamburger University program, where our general managers learn some of the fundamentals of, people management and communication skills and time management. And then they can go on to take on higher level roles at corporate or eventually become a franchisee and run what in many cases are multi-million-dollar businesses. And we have countless examples of that as we look at all of the people who impact the McDonald's system, we call it, which is our employees, our franchisees, and our suppliers. And many of them have started as crew members.
Wow, that's incredible. How many people here have either worked in McDonald's or know someone who has? All right, okay, you guys are a little underrepresented from this perspective. You can step it up a bit,
Yes.
but really incredible piece, 80,000 graduates of Hamburger University over the last decade. It's as many as all the Ivy League schools combined.
Yeah.
Right, so it's just a perspective of the impact that you can really have there. So you've had the perspective from the company view, and then Kendall, now you were part of a crew, right? Calumet City is where you started.
Yeah, I was.
Tell us about that and what you learned.
Yeah, I was a product of everything Tiffanie just talked about. For me, McDonald's was my introduction to high-level branding, storytelling campaign. So a lot of that was effective for me in terms of wanting to work in that environment. So when I was younger, it was my first summer job. And when I decided, to get a summer job, I couldn't think of anywhere else I wanted to be other than McDonald's. Obviously, the food played a part.
Right.
But, just the environment alone and just, again, the storytelling, all of those things were impactful to me. And so it was a place I decided I wanted to be. And I'm happy I did that because while there, learning people skills, customer relations, and, all of the things that I was taught, I was able to now, implement into all of my entrepreneurial goals.
Right. And you've had quite an entrepreneurial career.
Yeah. Since graduating high school, I've been an entrepreneur. And so to, come full circle and work with McDonald's in the capacity that I have recently has been crazy. Our partnership has been, beyond fruitful, and I'm just excited to be a part of it.
You've been described as a multifaceted culture converter.
Yeah.
What's that kind of about?
Honestly, I'm just interested in a lot of things. And right out of high school, I got started in sports management. And so building those relationships, I was able to, do some cool things and bring some, connect some good people, and brought a lot of that to the partnership with McDonald's that we just recently did. And, playing basketball growing up in the McDonald's All-American game was a big part of my upbringing. And so, we went on to design the court, along with the 1 and 8 Letterman jacket.
Wow. Now, just maybe guesses out here. What was your first job at McDonald's? Like food, or you had to be up the front?
No, it was a register.
It was a register.
It was definitely a register.
This is the guy. And you get him up to get the fries with that, right?
Yeah.
And everybody does.
Register to the fries.
Okay, exactly.
And
That's
can
great.
I just make one comment on Kendall and the Letterman jacket, which we would love for you to all to see that, but it's a full circle moment because when we started talking about how can we bring pride to the 1 and 8 community and really show our crew members that they're part of something special that's so much bigger than just what they do in the restaurant every day, we partnered with Kendall as a fashion designer, to actually create this special piece of merchandise that only our 1 and 8 members can get. So it's becoming a coveted item. And you know how merch drops tend to work.
Exactly.
People are actually quite interested in it now. So it's very fulfilling for us to know that Kendall started as a crew member, and now he's a really important strategic partner for us.
Yeah.
And all of you who didn't raise your hand when we asked you if you'd worked at McDonald's, you can't get one. Right? You got to be part of the crew here to make it happen. And your career, like Calumet City, really is an extension of South Chicago in many ways, right? And we heard from Billy and Juju about that. So what you did here was really help to break through in your career, and has led on to other great stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, doing this work, my siblings, my nieces and nephews, have asked me if I wanted to own a McDonald's. And so the fact that they've been able to look at it and say, have these ideas of how you can grow within McDonald's, to me is what the work is all about. So, I'm excited to be a part of it.
Great. Let's kind of go maybe a little bit broader back and mentioned about opportunity youth, right? 5 million estimated in the country don't have jobs, aren't in school between 16 and 24. That's where Billy and Juju were, right? And where others might have been. But you're now talking about, we got to think about that as opportunity employment.
Yes.
Tell me what that means from a McDonald's perspective and the impact that can have.
Yeah, we've taken our foundational belief that everyone has opportunity and potential to do more within McDonald's, and now we've extended that far beyond the walls of McDonald's. So in 2018, we launched a program called Youth Opportunity, and it's aimed at reducing barriers to workforce readiness and employment. We have 24 countries around the world that are participating. We've touched just under 2 million people by some of these programs. And it really provides life skill training, job readiness, making connections, identifying potential job opportunities for youth between 16 and 24 who may have had some struggles to figure out how do they get that first job or how do they overcome some of those challenges. So it's really exciting for us because most of that work touches people who actually don't work for us. Now, they're potential employees, and we've been able to recruit many into our restaurants, but again, that's a part of our broader effort to create a society where everybody can fulfill their dreams and access opportunity equally.
Now, one of the things for the group to understand a little bit is most of the people who are working at McDonald's aren't working for McDonald's itself, but
Yes.
for your franchisees. I'm a former CEO of Krispy Kreme Donuts, so we had the same kinds of challenges, not at the same scale.
Yes.
So you've got to also help convince those individual franchisees who are business owners about the potential of this, investing in the future. How does that manifest itself?
Yeah, it's a great question. So at McDonald's, about 95% of our restaurants are owned and operated by a franchisee. So most of the McDonald's that you may visit are not actually company owned. And the beauty of that is we have men and women who are really a part of the local community and can be the face of McDonald's to that local community and bring a lot of local innovation to the table. One of the challenges that creates in my role is that it's hard to just implement something without a lot of convincing and making sure that we have a real compelling story to tell. So we've used data and analytics as a really important part of our strategy. There's nothing we do in our people initiatives that we don't prove out somehow through data so that we can actually tell a story to franchisees such that they know the investing in these kinds of initiatives will actually improve their bottom line. And probably no surprise to you, but our restaurants that have the strongest people metrics, so when you think about things like turnover and level of training, they also have the strongest operational metrics. And we can show that to a very specific level of detail. We rank our restaurants in quintiles and can identify how our top quintile restaurants are performing versus those in the lowest. And then we've seen the benefit of programs like Archways. And again, Archways is the program that we offer to provide tuition reimbursement to all of our crew members at participating restaurants. And we know that Archways participants are 2 times more likely to stay with us, 2 times more likely to be promoted. They are also more likely to stay with us. For every year that a non-Archways participant stays, an Archways participant stays 2.5 years. So we have some of the data that shows if you invest in these kinds of programs, it will yield stronger retention of your people. And we know that retention yields stronger operational performance and customer satisfaction.
And really, it is part of a whole system within your programs all connect in from as people get started in training development through the Archways program, through Hamburger University, just different levels, right? Graduate school and PhD, if you will.
Yes, I like to call it's an ecosystem that meets people where they are. And again, whether you are trying to learn a new language in English or Spanish, or going to college or accelerating your career within the company, there are lots of ways that you can do that.
Now, Kendall, you've been in the role, you've worked with that, you've had a successful career. What's the counsel and advice that you can provide here to the Chief Purpose Officer maybe to Ronald himself, but also to others here who are working with Opportunity Youth and beyond?
Yeah, no, I would tell Ronald to keep doing what he's doing. It's worked.
It's working.
And as far as McDonald's, I think the work is there. Like, I wouldn't change much, because I think the important part of what McDonald's does is create a culture that people want to be a part of across the board. So for me, like I said, it was my first summer job, and, being younger, you have a ton of interest, and of all the other things I could have, wanted to do in terms of work, McDonald's was my choice. Again, food was a big part, but the other part was, all of the things, the campaigns, the Calvin's Got a Job campaign, that was 20, 30 years ago, and I remember that still, so that just speaks to the impact of the brand. So, and again, I didn't get to take advantage of, a lot of the programs you're mentioning now. It was just my summer job, but I can only imagine now how even more effective it is.
Yeah.
And it does touch on some of the things we heard about successful programs.
Yeah.
McDonald's are local, right? You're listening always to your customers, to your employee bases. You really are finding ways. You're finding ways to engage people in their own ways that can really work for them. And you're kind of partnering with local folks as well from that perspective. Yeah. So Tiffanie, as you kind of think broadly, and we think about these pathways to economic mobility and all the rest, what are the lessons learned that you've had? Now you came out of General Mills.
I did.
20 Cheerios, right? All that stuff.
Yes.
Eddie Crocker,
Yeah.
23 years there in manufacturing, which is also frontline workers.
Yes.
And now you're on the retail side with McDonald's. But what are some of the lessons learned you have we can share here with the group?
Yeah, one important lesson is stay true to where you can be credible. I think when we talk about the space of making an impact and making a difference, there are so many problems to be solved. But one of the questions that I often ask and we ask internally is, where can we be credible and where can we solve a problem that other people may not be able to solve? Because that allows you to focus, with limited time, resource, people. You want to focus where you can have a really meaningful impact. And one of those spaces for us is the space of opportunity and education, because of our roots and because we have such a strong people-focused business. So that would be one, stay focused, figure out what you can uniquely do and where you can be credible and show up as credible with your audience. The second is figure out how to quantify the work. I think we're in a place in society where there are lots of causes that people want to be a part of, and the heart factor is real. People want to do good and meaningful work. And at the same time, you have businesses that have limited resources to invest. So it's important to have that heart factor and the passion and the data and analytics to prove that the work you're doing will actually achieve the outcomes that you've set forth. And you have to start the work with that in mind, because it guides how you set up your systems and the infrastructure and what you track so that you can tell a really compelling story.
Cool. So part of this is a strategic connection to what you do. And obviously you hire lots of people at McDonald's. This is a role in that area. The second is have those metrics that really underpin what you've done. And then it sounds like you've also developed this into a full-fledged program. I mean, it's a whole system with McDonald's, and getting franchisees having managed through that's not always the easiest thing, and helping convince them of the power of what this is all about.
It's not, but we have wonderful franchisees, right. And many of them have come to the table as a McDonald's franchisees because they were a crew member, or because of the impact they can also have in community. So, we're blessed and fortunate to have, a group of small business owners who understand and get the power of the brand and want to be an important part of that. Collectively, we've given more than $185 million just on Archways. And, it's allowed tens of thousands of, employees to actually advance in their educational careers through that program. So our franchisees love that too. They do a lot of amazing things at a local level that are even beyond what we're doing nationally.
All right. Well, quick lightning round here. Favorite menu item at McDonald's?
Number one, Big Mac.
Number one, Big Mac.
Yeah.
I'm a cheeseburger small fry
Cheeseburger
and
small
a vanilla
fries.
cone. That's my order.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank
for really
you.
terrific work,
Thank
how
you.
it connects
Thank
together.
you.
Thank you all this morning.